Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Doug the Retirement Guy with all your monthly ETFs. And today we're going to try something a little different. Trying to put together a little different series to help out some of our people who are either starting off in the retirement or looking at possibly retirement. And I'm going to do a series called Rethinking Retirement. 8 major financial regrets that you need to know about before or during your retirement. Giving it to you for someone who's been retired for over 10 years now, I really want to share this with you. Have you ever gone out and bought something you would thought you would improve your life better and only realized that it made your whole life more complicated? I think we all have. We've all experienced buyer's remorse at some time in our lives, but particularly painful is in the retirement years. When you're working, it's easy to believe happiness is just one purchase away: a bigger house, a nicer car, a vacation property. But after we retire, our perspective shifts. We begin to value freedom over status, peace over possessions, and time over things. Today, I'm going to talk to you about 8 financial purchases that retirees often regret and a valuable lesson I've learned, and then to keeping your own retirement journey smooth and stable. Let's get into today's video. We do have to do the disclaimer, and that is past performances don't guarantee your future results, and this information in this video is for educational and informational purposes only. I am not a licensed financial advisor. I am just one who's been studying this stuff for years. The example and suggestions discussed here are basically not suitable for all individual situations, so always contact a financial advisor before making financial decisions. So first up, in our number one regret, is buying or keeping an oversized home. For many, retirement seems to be the perfect time to upgrade to that dream empty nester home. But many retirees later deeply regret it. The problem isn't the house itself, it's the cascade of expenses that come with it. A larger home normally means more cleaning time, higher maintenance costs, skyrocketing homeowners insurance, increased property taxes. Besides, most of us only spend about 90% of our time in just a couple of rooms anyways. You don't need the extra space, but you're going to pay for it over time. Now, I've made this big mistake. I had a home in Florida. I had a home in Georgia. Actually, 2 homes in Georgia. 3 homes for me and my wife. It was kind of crazy. One we did rent out, but the other one was our lake home, the thing I just love with the boat and all that. And I just started looking at it and saying the expenses to maintain that lifestyle was ridiculous. So we downgraded heavily all the way across. Number 2. Now, this one here gets a lot of people, and I'll be honest with you, I'm one of them, and that is timeshares. Timeshares, honestly, you don't even need to say anything about timeshares. They show up in retirement regrets lists more and more than any other purchase that's out there. The promise that you of that luxury, flexible vacation, what they actually deliver is annual fees that rise every year. Monthly payments for a place that you're not even staying in. Scheduling conflicts. The asset that virtually is impossible to resell when you're finally had enough. It's quite literally a funnel for your hard-earned money. I've been through all these things. I've been through the timeshares packages. We've seen it over and over again. And it's one of those things of like, wow, the great sales pitch of any era. Buy a portion of this property. You get to use it twice, 2 weeks a year. You pay maintenance of only so much money, and then you can trade it and go anywhere you want. Well, honestly, I actually own 2 different timeshares. One of them, I'm actually positive. I would say, yeah, no problem, go ahead and own it, but it's not really a true timeshare, while the other one is a true timeshare by Westgate. Okay, if you don't know Westgate, they're very big in Florida. They're in Branson. They're in Las Vegas, and their fees go up and up and up every single year. It's almost like having a blank check for them to write it. So timeshares are not all that they're cranked up to be. I'm finding out I can rent places cheaper than the timeshare people are owning it. I do Aruba. We go down to Aruba Surf Club, Marriott Surf Club. I'm actually to be able to buy that for almost, and when I say buy it, that is going for a week and renting the hotel room for 1 week. I can do that for almost the same price that most people's maintenance fees are. It's crazy what's going on. Now I'm going to give you the positive one. It's going to be the magic years of Disney. I bought a DVC vacation package back in 2000, long before I retired. I had 2 kids. I wanted to continue to take them to Disney and do things. Today I'm using it for my grandkids. Now it'll disappear in 2042. But from what that they charge for hotel rooms, for what we have done, the whole thing has paid for itself time and time over. Now it's a different program than an actual true timeshare. But timeshares as a general, bad cases. Now, number 3 is buying brand new cars or changing vehicles too often. This one I have to put is my wife's issue. Now, don't get me wrong. Having comfortable, reliable transportation is one of life's greatest luxuries, especially at the retirement ages. You want to know that your car will crank up and run every single time and not have to worry about it when you're going to see the grandkids or going on vacation or anything like that. But many retirees spend way more on vehicles than they need to. The irony is this: you drive significantly less in retirement. I drive about 1/4 of the mileage I used to when I was working. No daily commutes, no rushing to meetings, yet people buy the most expensive cars of their life right after as they retire. A few years later, the excitement's faded, the heavy payments remain, and the vehicle is dramatically depreciated. Now, my wife is always a great one who wants a new car about every couple years. The newest, greatest tech mobile comes out. And if you've watched my channel, we did buy her a brand new Hyundai Santa Fe. New body design, loved every piece of it. I personally like the car. We celebrated 1 year of owning this car. I went and looked at the odometer. She had 2,900 miles on it. I told her, I said, sweetheart, I love you to death, but you do not need a car. For 2,900 miles, I said, 2 of the trips were up to Georgia to see our grandkids. That's 800 miles each way. That's 1,600 miles total done. That means you've only drove this car 1,300 miles. Take my vehicle, go use that. It will reduce our insurance. It'll reduce a lot of different pieces. I don't need a new car every so many years. Even my vehicle I bought, got rid of my 2015 pickup truck, went into a 2023 Yukon. Yeah, it's an overblown thing, but there was a reason for it. We were going to be traveling. We were going to be doing vacations more. We were going to do other areas. The vehicle has 24,000 miles in 3 years. So I'm still under 10,000 miles a year, even with some bigger trips. The bottom line is you don't drive as much in retirement as you've done in the past. So buying that one new car before you retire, figure that car is going to last you minimum 10 years before you need to replace it. This is why I say, don't get me wrong, I'm having a comfortable, reliable transportation, and that is a luxury. But you don't need to pay for it over and over and over. The number 4 is overpriced recreational vehicles. Now, I'm lumping in campers, motorhomes, boats into this. For some people, the RV lifestyle works beautifully, but many, the reality is very different from that dream. Instead of endless adventures, they discover ongoing storage fees, specialized insurance, constant repairs, and high fuel costs. If you only use it 2 or 3 weeks out of the year, you quickly realize you should stay in a 5-star luxury hotel. You're probably going to spend less money having those big luxury pieces. Now, I've owned the boats, I've owned the campers, I've done that part of life myself, and I always use that standard. What a boat stands for is break out another 1,000. Every time you turn around, it costs you money. And I kind of got into this. Now, I know there's a ton of people who love boating. There's a ton of people who love camping and all of that. If you're going to own it, you better use it. And this is one of the biggest things that we talk about. You know, you got a budget for every single piece of this, and that is the storage fees, the maintenance fees. I live in Florida, and I see this all the time. I have friends who have the RVs, and I talk to them, and they look at this and say, God, I use it 10 times a year. I go out for quick, long vacations or long weeks. The RV is so big, it takes me forever to drive there. They burn up a ton of gas. The boats, they run over to, they got marina that they got to park it at because they can't really store it anywhere. There's just fees on top of fees on top of fees. So it's consistently. And I started looking at things myself and saying, if I can rent it, probably better off than owning it. Number 5. This is one of the toughest ones that I had to talk about. And that's financially supporting adult children of your own. It's completely natural you want to help your kids. But no matter how old they are, you might want to pay off their college tuition. You may want to give them a massive down payment for their home. But this level of generosity can leave you severely financial shortfall, especially on a fixed income. You think of this way. Your children can take out a loan to buy a car or go to college. You can't take out a loan to fund your retirement. You're entirely up to you, but be helpful. Don't end up being the relying one onto it. You're older aged because you tried to support other capable adults who found it easier for you to hand them the money. Now, I know this is probably going to set a lot of people off, but I have 2 adult kids, and I can go into deeper details of each one of them. I prefer not to keep my personal life out of it, but every so often there is financial support that needs to go to the kids. I do it because we're loving people, we're caring people. But we also ask a lot of tough questions when we have to support our kids. What's going on with your money? What's going on? Why did this happen? Where is it at? We don't just hand over money. We ask those big questions and those hard questions. It was very difficult for my wife to get involved in these conversations because I would ask very, very hard, deep questions. And then we'd find out what's going on, and we would assist and help out. And it's funny that over time, my kids have come back and said, if they need help, they know they will pay back. They will, because of all the hard questions. And now both of them, they're over 30 now. Both of them, they're not asking for financial support anymore. They're not asking. They're actually helping me sometimes. And I don't want the financial support. But they're always there because they said, you taught us well. You taught us how to work hard. And you basically have done what needed to be done and trained us that way. So if you're helping financial, I just tell you, ask those tough questions. Why do they need the money? What's going on? It's your money, and you deserve those questions. Now, regret number 6. This one does not come from me personally. because I've always had this issue. I've always been this part, but storage units. Okay. People pay for storage units for stuff. They fill it with stuff. Now, I could easily tell you my wife would probably love to have a storage unit. Okay? She would, if in my world, she would probably have 10 storage units because she loves the stuff and never wants to get rid of anything. And I've explained this to her. We've worked it out. But this is one of the biggest regrets I'm finding with a lot of retirees that I interview. Some retirees spend monthly fees for years to store things that completely forgot about. I have my own philosophy, and it's very simple. If you put something in a cardboard box and stick it in the attic, one, I mark the date that we put it in there. I just write on it, black magic marker. I put the date and year that it went in there. And I do it so that you can tell if the tape gets torn or if the tape gets removed to look in the box. And if you haven't looked in it for 5 years, throw it away. You don't need it. Just throw it away. Now, I've been accused of this. We've moved, I'll give you a quick one, we moved from Seattle, Washington, all the way to Atlanta, Georgia. We lived out there for a little, just a hair over 3 years. And when we moved from Michigan to Seattle, Washington, I marked every single box that went in our shed in the backyard. When we picked up to move to Atlanta, Georgia, I picked all those boxes up and looked at them and said, was dated 3 years ago. 3 years ago. Tape wasn't removed. Nothing was removed. Nothing. We lived for 3 years without ever touching all this stuff. Instead of putting it on the moving truck, I put it to the garbage truck. Off it went. It took over 2 years for my wife finally to say, I had this. And I remember putting it in the storage unit. She couldn't know where, didn't know when. I finally admitted to it that I threw out about 25 different boxes of stuff. Now, I got accused of throwing out so many different things. And I might have thrown them out, or I might have never even seen them. But the joke is, she has no clue what I threw out. Putting it in storage unit is just hemorrhaging money. You're just constantly, every month, pay, and you don't even know what's in there. That could kill a nest egg. That could destroy you in the future by holding on to things. If you're not getting pleasure out of it, it's time to get rid of it. This is a big one. Storage units, and I'm funny, in Florida, you find a community that builds up in Florida, I guarantee you'll see a storage place building up within under a year. And over 1 year after that, the price is maxed out. People store so much stuff inside of it. Now, number 7, luxury travel. Don't get me wrong here. You got to listen to this one carefully. Luxury travel is part of retirement. Everybody has those huge trips that they want to take. I call them the once-in-a-lifetime trips. Are fantastic. Now, my wife, we have taken these. We've taken our different trips. I want to do them again. They are the greatest part of my retirement is traveling and those one-in-a-lifetime trips. So don't take this wrong that I'm saying don't do this. What it comes down to is when people want to take those hyper expensive travels every month, or what I always say, early in retirement. Your nest egg won't last 20 to 30 years if you're consistently taking these elaborate, hyper expensive travels every year or twice a year and so on. You need to plan for your luxury travels. We have a policy here that we do one luxury travel about every 3rd year. We relate it to our basic anniversaries, our marriage anniversaries. We're coming on 40 years of being married. So already I'm saying we're going to do a big travel for the 40th. Now I've been saving for it for, God, almost 2 years now. Okay? Because we're going to spend big money. Another big one. She wanted to take all of her grandkids for her birthday. She wanted to take all of her grandkids. That's 4 grandkids plus another 3 adults plus us, so it's total of 9. She wanted to take them on a Disney cruise. That was over $20,000 to do. And I said, you can do it, but we just need time to plan it. So you got to remember, travel has invisible costs, from renting cars, daily tips, the resort fees, for just lifting a cup of coffee to your lips. You're going to have expensive fees. So when on vacation, every single costs you money. Now we've gone to the point of this. We plan for all that, so we don't have the stress on a vacation. The worst thing you can do is take a beautiful vacation and a long-term vacation and then worry about money. So this is why I put on this luxury travel. Like I said, about every 3rd year do we do one of these big once-in-a-lifetime type trips. But we've planned for it for 3 years. So just remember that. You need to plan still your luxury trips. Now, I'm not saying you can't take trips. You know from this channel again, God, if I could take a cruise every single month, I would. But I do shop my cruises. That's a whole separate entity. My cruise packages, we're getting about between 4 to 6 cruises a year. Those are not once in a lifetimes. Those are just my expenses for traveling. But it's those big ones, off to Europe for 10 days, 14 days. It's off to Australia. It's off to New Zealand. It's up to Greenland and Iceland. It's the Hawaii for 14 days. It's the Alaska cruise that's going to be multiple, 14-day trips. I can go on, but those are the things you want to worry about and just plan for. I'm not saying you can't. It's just plan for. Now, resort living and over 55 communities. Now, this one's going to strike very close to home here because I live in a 55 and older community. But we've done this research with, again, other retirees, and moving permanently into a resort style or a 55 community is tough. Now, like I said, I live in Florida, and I'm in a 55 and older community. Everything you want is here. You want to play pickleball. You want to play baseball. You want to play tennis. 14 different swimming pools. They cut the grass. They maintain your yard. They do all your landscaping. They do everything about it. But we are also one of the lowest HOA fees. And that, again, was all planned in accordingly. I've gone through different communities. I've seen different things. I've studied the resort style areas that offer you a golf course membership. But when you look at the HOA fees, when you look at an ETF, that you look at the fees of it, look at when you buy a house, what's the HOA fees? I've seen things $1,300 a month. They'll have all kinds of services, concierge services, weekly housekeeping, valet parking, endless social calendars. That's all money. So you really have to understand that living in those things, you're going to pay for it. And if you pay for it, make sure you use it. There are a lot of people who live in my community that have never been to a swimming pool, have never been to the pickleball court, have never been to one of their dances, street parties, fireworks show, have never been to all of those. And I'm like, why are you here then? I'm here because we enjoy what we have. Okay? We use everything to its fullest. As I get older and I slowly get to that, the retirement age that I'm going to sit in my lounger and do nothing, That's when I probably won't need all of this. I won't need all these extra fees. It'll be nice to have someone mowing my lawn and taking care of my outside yard. I don't have to worry about it. But I won't need all these extra things. So for many, it's a fabulous experience for the first year, first 3 years, first 5 years. But after the novelty wears off, retirees often realize that the things that give them true purpose, value, fulfillment, were back in the community that they left behind. These places are nice for vacation, but it can be tough to live in long term. Now that's different. I've never lived in a community that I was really tight with all of our neighbors. But I also vacationed in areas that had the resort style living and enjoyed it. And that's why we went to the 55 community, and my wife has learned to love it. As I do this video, she's actually out playing pickleball. Every Saturday with the girls, off they go. We've created our own. So it's resort living over 55 communities can be great. But you have to know, is it right for you? I hear a lot of people here in Florida, villages are the biggest thing around. We had people, our next door neighbors who we were great friends with, move to the villages. After 1 year, I asked them, I said, how is it living in the villages? And she says, oh, it's wonderful. I said, then why is it you're here 6, 7, 8 times a year? She has a dog sitting business, and she will take anyone's dog so that she can come back to our neighborhood, our community, to watch dogs so she can be a part of our community. And she finally told me, living in the villages, I don't have any friends. People were so big, we're so spread out that we don't make new friends. Oh, I got my neighbor next door and the one down the street, but it's not like it was here. That 10,000 people, 5,500 homes, we almost knew everybody and everyone was part of it. So it's just something to really think about across the board. Guys, that is my 8 regrets of retirement. The core question is freedom versus obligations. The path of freedom. Happiness is found in needing less and not owning more. And the path of obligation is ever new possessions carries a hidden maintenance and debt. I want time over things. I want mobility, access, and I want freedom of that financial peace. That's what gives me pleasure. When I turn around and see the maintenance traps of repairs, maintenance, insurance, the mental clutter, the stress of managing more, and locked in costs, monthly fees never disappear, those crush me. I am done with all that. I've checked out of life. I want that freedom. And I ask myself this all the time, will this purchase give me more freedom or less freedom? And that's what I use to filter my decisions through my freedom question. How can I live freedom? How can I live free in retirement? So, conclusion, clean and simple. Keep your finances simple. Financial independence, spousal peace of mind. You know, we've never been closer and tighter in my life is now because we've cleaned up everything. We've made things simple. I've had over, like I said, 25 years of pure security and the values over possessions. I no longer worry about what I have and what's going to be. I'm not keeping up with the Joneses. What I have, I love. I have my car. I love it. I have my house. I love it. I actually got asked, you've been here 9 years. You should move. And I said, I don't know where I would move to. As I said, happiness is not found in purchasing more. It's found in needing less. I want to thank you for watching. Hopefully this hit home. Hit that subscribe button and hit that like button if you like what we're doing.
Thank you for watching. Press the